Welcome back to the Build Show. Hey, what's up, chat nerds? It looks live, but is it? I don't know, is it? Is it live? Is the thing on? It appears to be on. I'm not even going to repeat that, some giant idiot, but yes, I get what you're saying. Hey, what's up, Tat? Welcome back to the Build Show. Purge Racing, sick. Welcome to the Build Show. Some giant idiot, we are live. Oh, one of those fancy AIOs. I'm actually confused on this, because this is what I picked up from Tony today. I didn't ask too many questions, because Tony was actually not there. So when I picked these up, but I picked him up because he was out of town. I said, I'll do the build. We planned to do the build today and our schedules got shifted around or whatever. I went and picked up the parts for him, brought him here, and he started the build, I believe. I haven't really gotten a good opportunity to really look at anything yet because it's been such a crazy day. So here I am, discovering everything just as live as you guys. All that I do recall is our conversation where he started a build and decided he wanted somebody to do it. I hope that music isn't getting picked up by the mic. Okay. So Tony did start the build. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here because there's two coolers. He gave me boxes for two coolers. We have the NZXT Kraken and the 360 Panorama, which is actually a really cool cooler. And I hope we are using the Trix cooler because that one I haven't gotten to work with yet, and it looks pretty dope. So, no music. Okay. I was worried. I thought maybe it was getting picked up and brought through the mic. Because I'm weird and I use speakers so I can hear the beat. So I don't have to wear a headset. So my ears can breathe. AMD is so good. They let you 3D stack CPU coolers. Yes. You can stack multiple coolers on your CPU now. Especially with the Panorama Trix cooler. It allows you to put it on the side, on the back side where the other screen is, you know, where there isn't a screen. You can add another cooler. And the case that we selected for this build is big enough to actually house both of these. No joke. It is. Tony, the Pano. What's up, Tony? Welcome to the Build Show, sir. I'm confused by the Kraken Elite. I'm assuming you're using the Pano. Yes. But the Kraken Elite, I don't know what that was there for. I'm a little thrown off on that, so we'll open it up and find out what's in there. Because the 360 or the Pano is not in the box and the Kraken is not in the box. Makes me wonder what's in the box. Because I haven't gotten to look at it yet. So, again, we're going to be looking at this together. So what I've put together, if you do the exclamation point build, everything that I did see that I assumed is in the build. So there are some question marks for me, such as, I don't know what RAM he's using. I don't know what storage he's using. I don't know if he used a contact frame. I'm not sure which of the two coolers, other than what he just said, which was the Pano. Or if there's anything else in the build that I'm not aware of. We're gonna just find out. So there's a lot of question marks. So, I just wanted to give you the experience. When you're a PC builder, sometimes you'll come across situations like this where somebody will start a build and then bring it to you, which is fine. But sometimes you'll run into these, you know, big question marks. You're not doing the full build, you know, is kind of the scenario. I didn't start the build, but I'm here to finish it for him, so it gets built nice and neat. Which is what he's looking for. So he reached out and asked me to finish the build for him. So I can definitely do that. I just wanted to share the experience with you guys to show you that, you know, it's not always opening up a brand new box and starting fresh and knowing exactly where all the hardware is. Sometimes you will run into situations like this where somebody started a build and you gotta finish it and figure it all out from there, which is fine. I've done quite a few like this. I'm gonna try to save the boxes. I know he wanted to give me the boxes to show you guys, the stream, everything that was here. I actually don't know if we got everything out of this or if we even need to open this motherboard box, but I'm gonna pull everything aside and then we're going to get the actual build out of the box, which is going to be a big pain because it's a massive tower. If you're not familiar with the Asus ROG Hyperion full tower, it is a massive tower. So I don't even know if it's going to fit in the frame. We're going to try. We'll see what happens. We do have, I did open this and look. I'm glad that we at least have all the power supply cables that I can see here. That's a plus. Sometimes when you get started builds, there's power cables missing. But it looks like all of them are here. It feels like the card actually might still be in the box here, to be honest. Or at least something's in here. The card is definitely still in the box, so that's good to see. So I'll make sure I handle this card with care. Oh, good lord, that's a big boy tower. Oh, yeah. Good thing I've been working out the last couple months, right? Except I have a messed up elbow from disc golfing, throwing the disc. You get like a baseball injury in your elbow from throwing a disc. It's the whipping motion. I think they call it like, there's a name for it and I can't think of it. But I have that. All right, let's get this thing out of the box. See what we're working with. Oh. Who needs a weight lift when they can just build PCs? It's actually not that bad. I'm making it look way worse than it actually is. All right, so we're gonna pop the top off and take an El Pico. We have a radiator in there, that's cool. And then this is actually my first time working with this particular tower. I don't get to do very many big builds like this anymore. The last, well, I take that back. It seems like I'm doing more and more. I took the side panel off and now I'm gonna take rear glass side panel off. Sometimes I try to give myself a little bit of time before I start doing the build where I, you know, watch a YouTube review of the case so I can understand the case a little bit more. Tonight, you're getting it raw. I didn't do that. We're just going with the flow. Okay, so we're gonna lay this bad boy down. I want to see. We definitely went with the Pano, the Trix cooler. Oh. Okay. We got some fingerprints. No RAM. I'm assuming that's in one of the other boxes. Or we're missing it. Hopefully we're not missing that. Got a GPU support bracket here. I have no idea where that goes. All of our front panel connectors here. Looks like a pump connector from the Pano. Oh, Jesus. Front panel USB or from the be from the... Must be from the Pano. HD audio, USB-C, USB-C, USB 3, USB 3. So 2 USB-Cs and 2 USB 3.0 headers, an ARGB header, our front panel power connector, a SATA power connector, and an additional SATA power connector. We're probably going to reroute all of these cables, to be honest, except for this pump. I mean, obviously this goes up here somewhere. I just have no idea where it goes. I've never worked on the Godlike board. This one. This X870E Godlike. Godsend, a beautiful build, man. I didn't build this. Tony started it. And it looks like he got pretty far through it. Fairly through it. And I think what happens with a lot of new time builders is they'll get scared because of all the cables and then they want some help or guidance. Which, I mean, I can understand. It is overwhelming when you just sit here and look at a big blob of cables and it's like, what do I do? I don't want to break it. Especially when it's more expensive components, such as a Godlike motherboard. I do like this Godlike motherboard because, for example, these are magnetic, they're removable. I think it has a couple more that are also removable. I just don't know how to remove them because I never watched a video on how to do it, or never done it myself. The little push pin on the side. So now we have access to the entire bottom of the board, which is cool. And I'm assuming all of our connectors are here on the side, which is a pain because we're already in the case. So in this scenario, I probably would have tried to connect all of these with the board unmounted. That way I could tackle these easier. The specs. Yeah, I know. I don't know half of the specs. Tony, do you know where the RAM is? And that right angle and that case is going to be a bit tricky. The right angle on that case. What right angle? Oh, I don't know what you mean. Looks like we have some thermal paste here too. That wasn't me. Right angle. Oh yeah. You mean the connectors down here? Yeah. I think that's what you mean by right angle. That is going to be a bit tricky. Yes. Okay, so we've kind of assessed the situation here. Don't know if I see a contact frame or not. I don't know how to... No contact frame. You're driving? No worries, Tony. You're good. Let me see if I can locate the... And do you want a contact frame, Tony? Because I would have to remove the block and then put the frame back, put the frame on. I do have one here. We might tear that down and put that on there since this is a pretty high-end build, in my opinion. Can't get much higher. The only thing is it's a Ryzen 9 7950X, not the latest and greatest 9050X 3D. But yes, if you recommend it, okay, we'll do it then. All right, so now that we've discovered the back side or the front side, I want to try to locate the RAM. Located the GPU. The power supply cables are. Got a weird feeling A weird feeling it's in the motherboard box. Something tells me it's in there. Okay. Promising. We've got some hardware, it looks like, for the case, which is good. Vertical bracket. This is PCIe 5. It is a PCIe 5.0 cable. I will say, riser cables and PCIe 5.0 sometimes does some weird stuff. So we'll see about that. Don't see the RAM yet. And these are all hardware for the motherboard. So, no RAM. Gotta find that. That's the best you can buy, pretty much, yeah. Am I just crazy or am I not seeing the RAM? I don't think there's RAM here. To be honest. In this box. It is. Aha! It was in the ROG Hyperion box. A hardware box. Hidden away. Did not think to look there. Okay, so now that we've located, I believe, all of the parts, assuming the storage is on, set up. We should probably take a peek at that. No storage here. No storage there. Oh boy. All right, now we gotta find this. We gotta find the storage. What do you guys think the storage would be? Not with the RAM, is it? Is it on the other side? Does this board have one of those? An AMD box. Got it, Tony. Would not have ever thought to look in the AMD box. Oh, that's good. Look at that, guys. There it is. There's our storage. So that's a 990 Evo Plus. It's a great drive. I think it's a, what, 7,000 megabits read-write Gen 4 drive. A good drive. So, now, we need to decide which slot it's going to go into. Since we have them all opened up, we may as well take the time and kind of go through this. What's important about these types of boards, especially bigger boards like this, is it's going to have limitations on probably some of these slots. So, for example, the top slot on some of these bigger boards, I don't know for this one particularly which PCIe is full 5.0, though we are only running a PCIe Gen 4 SSD, but that still might make a difference in performance on your PCIe lights, so you have to be careful which ones you fill out. For example, if we put it in the top one, it may take performance off our X16 slot for our graphics card and make it only half the bandwidth, which is really bad for PCIe 5.0 in my opinion. It does not run as well. So we don't want to half our bandwidth on our graphics card, so you want to pay attention to what these slots do when you fill them out. And this isn't just for this motherboard, it goes for pretty much any motherboard. You want to pay attention to that. Also, some of them will be utilized by or managed by the CPU, and the others will be by the chipset. And we want to try to use it from the CPU because it will always be faster with the CPU versus the chipset. Steve, the stain has been lurking in the case. He left his footstep behind. Was he? Did he? Where? Oh, yeah. Long story short is pay attention to what these slots do, and the best way to do that is open up the manual and read the manual and verify what happens when you put a Gen 4 drive in the top slot, for example, which is what I'm going to look at. The top slot is for full 5.0 from chipset and still bandwidth on the X16 slot. Okay. So I could fill that out with the 4.0. I mean, we have a 4.0. What I don't want to do then, this is a Gen 4 drive. I don't really want to fill out a 5.0, although these are probably mostly 5.0. I'm assuming on a Godlike board. It's probably got like 3 Gen 5 slots. But we want to put that in a Gen 4 slot. That's on the CPU if we can find one, ideally. And then leave the rest of the slots for Gen 5 drives for future upgrades, making it easier for Tony to do an upgrade. That is what we want to do. At least that's my opinion. That's what I would recommend doing. You don't have to do it that way, but if I'm building for somebody else, I want to make it as easy as possible. It has 3 correct. Yeah, I just assumed. I didn't look any of this up, guys, I promise. I just guessed based off of previous Godlike boards. They generally do give you a generous amount of M.2s and generally a generous amount of current gen M.2s, which Gen 5. So, with that being said, we could probably drop it in the bottom one and be perfectly fine with that. But I just want to double check. So I'm going to go ahead and read them. So you want that bottom X4 slot then is 4.0, the bottom one? The very bottom? Is that on the chipset or the CPU? Do you know? This would be labeled M.2 5 on the bottom. This one here. Zoom in. I'm going to trust Chat Nerds for this one. Picking Chat Nerd's brain for this one because he's probably already got the manual open and he's probably reading it. Or he's built in it like 10 times. What's up, Skibbity Rizzler? Yo, welcome to the Build Show. Do you think AMD is making a high-end card? No, I don't feel like they're going to be doing that. Skibbity Rizzler, I hope that answers your question. The main reason why is AMD came out a while ago and basically stated that they weren't going to compete at NVIDIA's higher-end card level. They just said, we're just going to do the mid-range and lower-end stuff. And that's what they've been focused on. So, do I think they're going to come out with like a crazy big card? Maybe something a little bit better than a 9070 XT might come out, but you're not going to see 5090 performance. Good morning, Chef. Welcome back to the Build Show. ChatGPT told me to buy that. We've got plenty. This is one of the best motherboards for the platform. So, Tony, you did not go wrong, but you definitely could have saved money on the board with a couple other options that would have been just performing just as well and wouldn't have had all these extra features that you might not use. So, that is, yeah, it's definitely not a bad board at all. Not saying that at all. It's just typically we see these in major enthusiast builds or people that really need a lot of storage, media creators, stuff like that, where they're just gonna put 5 M.2s in. Or not till RDNA 5, then they will. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna try to compete in this 9000 series that they currently have out. Lord, I hate having to use a TV again. This is so butt cheeks. I'm sorry, Flash. Check your Discord message, Ben. Where's my Discord? Aha. Beautiful. Thank you, chat nerd. Oh, that is sweet how this has the multi-chipset setup. You know, I do like MSI's documentation. It always makes it super easy to read. So we probably want CPU. So I guess, yeah, the M.25 would be ideal. Leaving the rest of it open, or... That's PCIe. Or M.24. That's... It doesn't share any bandwidth with anything. So the M.25 would probably be the option, right? Do you agree with me, chat nerds? The very bottom one, M.25, this guy. It's a 990 Pro. No, it's a 990 Evo Plus. So it's not the Pro. But I think this M.25 would be perfectly fine. It's just a Gen 4 drive. Probably 7,000 megabits. Oh yeah, I didn't think it was a brick for you, Flash. I'm kind of glad to hear it was just the monitor, because at least that's easier to deal with. And at least you have, you know, the TV you can run on temporarily. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go with the M.2-5. I peeled it. Oh no. It doesn't share bandwidth with anything, so I am totally cool with it, even though it's on the chipset. Yes, then the bottom one, like I said. Yes, that one. Thank you. I knew exactly what we were talking about. This is actually a really cool design. A lot of peels left over on the board still. I'm going to try to get these peeled. I can't tell if that's a peel or a massive thumbprint. Okay, we're gonna have to flip this up. Get this off because I don't know where it's going here. Oh yeah. Kind of forgot. Oh, how about this? I've actually built in this case before. I lied to you guys before. I have done one build in it, and it was a very long time ago. This is what I needed loosened up so I can pull that back through. Really cool though. If you look at the bottom of this, I gotta zoom back out for you guys. Sorry, I didn't realize we were still so zoomed in. But got a really nice controller right here on the side. We're gonna have to pop the power supply back out to get the cables back on there, because this is gonna be impossible to try to get in here. Yes, that was a strange motion that you were just watching, but it's gonna be impossible to get in there to get that power supply cables, the power supply cables plugged in. So we'll probably have to remove that. That over there, and then we're going to pop this cooler. Kind of a stretch for this. I almost need to move this over a little bit, but with it being centered there, I think I'm okay with it. How do these fans connect to... That is going to be a good question. I see pins on the back side here, but I don't see anything plugged into it. Found a box. A Trix box. With cables in it. Those need to get added to the fan. I have no idea how these plug in. I've never done these before. Like I said, this is my first time working with this cooler. That is not a lie. Looks like... Almost looks like it's just magnetic. It is literally magnetic. That is the most satisfying thing I've had to deal with in a while. And we've got more stuff in here that we'll have to take a look at. It looks like some sort of Trix hub. We'll look at that here in a minute. Let's focus on getting this block off the CPU so we can put the contact frame on. Let's see here. Can I mix and match SSDs like I have a 1 terabyte? Yes, you definitely can mix and match, yes. Love you, chat. I was about to holler for you. Hi. You forgot to unzoom. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. No, the case is that big. Yes, the case is that big. but at the same time, I was zoomed in a little bit there. There should be an ARG for that cooler as well, an ARG. I'm assuming you mean like the hub or the cable. Yeah. There should be an ARG for that cooler as well. What do you mean by ARG? Additional cable, because I just see the USB cable. I've got a USB cable coming off the screen here. Then I found or located the magnetic connector, which gives us RGB and PWM, which is what we need for controlling the RPM of the fans and controlling the RGB on the fans. There's an additional bundle of joy here. Which looks like some sort of controller for it. Which I assume we want to plug in. If we want to use the Trick software. Just an assumption. What's up, EJP? Just saw Leo's build in person. Very clean work. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we had a couple of things that changed on Leo's build. Yep. Took a little longer getting across the finish line, but I'm not about the race, I'm about doing it right. So, I take my time kind of doing things, make sure I do it right. Cable management in the back probably could have been a little bit better. I tried. And I think I ended up moving 2 cables and I might have forgotten to zip tie those up, but I will feed you answers on Discord, Ben. LOL. Sounds good. I've just never dealt with this cooler before, unfortunately. I'm dealing with one that's already kind of halfway put together. So it's like, twists your brain a little bit. Okay, yeah. That's what I was thinking, is that this controller has to be involved somewhere down the line. Looks like they have ARGB fan 2. Technically, you probably don't even need the controller, to be honest. But I'm going to put it in anyway. Because you could just run it from the MSI software if you wanted to. Other than the screen, which has its own separate USB connection. It connects to a USB header, 2.0 header. 12 peeps watching and only... Sorry, nobody has to like. Wow, that's quite the VRM fan. Yeah, it's kind of like a, kind of reminds me of the beacon at on top of Gundor. It's just a huge beacon fan thing. Crazy how there's been 56 episodes since my build. Putting in the work. Thank you again. You're welcome, sir. Yeah, it's been busy. It's been slow but busy. I don't know how to explain it. I've had a couple of warranty drop-offs where I had a failing SSD today, and then another customer had, what was it, Roblox keeps freezing and crashing, so, and it makes the computer restart, which is really weird. So I'm thinking it's either a Windows thing, because it doesn't have it in any other game or benchmark. Literally the only thing it happens in is Roblox. So, and it's way overkill. The PC is way overkill for Roblox, so it's not a performance thing. And that's the only time it ever happens. Light the fire. The beacon has been lit. So yeah. Anyway, let's stop talking. Let's get this off. Get going. I don't want to be up till like 2 in the morning again. I know Tony's on vacation, but I don't think he wants to be up 2 in the morning in the woods on his, trying to charge his phone with the solar panel. That's going to be a little tricky with those hoses being so tight like that, but I think it work. It's almost the same design as Lian Li, as if Lian Li owns this product. The mounting hardware, like the same exact design. So on builds like this, when I don't start them, I do typically break it all the way down to socket. And I take an El Pico at the socket. I didn't originally handle this. We don't want to put a build together and find out there's a problem with the socket later. Since we're already here, I'm going to rest that back on there for one moment. Okay. Alcohols. Where'd everybody go? Well, that's what happens when you minimize everything all at once. Okay, we're still live. Anyway, I'm gonna take a peek. Feel bad wiping this, but wanted to show you guys real quick. Actually clean. Why we want to put a contact frame on this. Actually a good use case for this. Good content. But if we look as we zoom in and we will focus. Oh yeah. Okay, so as we look at this, we can see a lot of thermal paste trying to bleed off to the side. This is going to be a pain to clean up. I am going to try to clean it up the best I can. Right, meow. But it's not going to be perfect. The contact frame will help prevent that. Seriously, whoever designed it does need to get slapped. So I put some alcohol in this towel. I'm just going to use that to wipe it down a little bit. So what we're going to do is pop it open. Hopefully we can with the brackets here. Doesn't look like we'll be able to get it all the way open, which sucks. And I don't really want to take that completely off, because if we take those off, the plate might fall back, get do the other part to this. There, I don't know if you can see it or not, but with my hand causing a shadow, you can see the pins are all good. And something you typically want to check if you're building a computer that somebody else already started. I like to check it now that I have the pins completely exposed. I'm going to try to put this back in there. So that's back in. It's difficult because of these brackets that are in the way. I'm going to try to take these out without having to take those off. We'll see what happens. Pretty sure. But... why I don't want to loosen these up is because the whole plate will drop on the back and then we'll have a bigger mess. I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can see a little better. Yep. I was really hoping I could do this. I might have to at least pull the one side off. But I'm definitely not undoing that other side. All right. So now we've got that out, and we're completely blurred out. We're going to install our AM5 contact frame. Is it just me, or is it not focusing? Hello? Oh, there we go. Just had to give it the look. Is it bad to take that off? No. We're going to be replacing it with a contact frame. You just want to be very careful while you're doing it. As you can see, I left the CPU in over the pins to protect the pins. We don't want to accidentally... we don't want to accidentally bend the pins while we're working in the socket, or, you know, around the pins like this. But this will help keep the thermal paste clean. These cracks. I was able to sneak that in there, which was nice. Then I'll be able to mount it without losing the tray in the back. And then we'll put this back on. Tighten those down because they were actually pretty loose. I don't think they were tightened all the way in the first place. Like, we checked these things. That's why when I'm responsible to make sure that this build is done right, I will go through the steps and check literally everything. You have to do that. If I pulled that CPU and there was bent pins, I'd stop the build right away and say, hey, we got bent pins. I'm not going to go forward with the build. You know, we'd obviously address it. But you got to check it. Okay, so next we can put the cooler back on. I just need to locate some thermal paste, and I don't want to use TF7. I had a brand new. Yeah, with it. Where it is? Well, we might have to just use TF7, and then I am actually going to Micro Center tomorrow, unless I have enough this tube. Don't think I have a whole lot left in this, so we'll see we'll give it a go. This is just Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut. You can always squeeze more out of this tube, it feels like. I did wipe the bottom, I didn't use alcohol on the bottom of the copper. Should be fine. My way. Hey, what's up, Xeon, the Cyber App Wagon? You're back! Welcome back to the Bill Chow. Some giant idiot. It was a tough day at work. I'm sorry, man. Stupid. Kept calling. I don't have your... I see. Speaking of that, you shorted me a few Oh. I wish I knew more about this stuff, but I've only been doing it like a month, give or take. There's no better feeling than asking that one question that makes the professor go, good question. Good question. I always like to try to stump my teachers too. All right, we got that in place. Now, we can put this back on. Any more peels up here that I need to peel before I put this back on? I don't think so. I feel like this is supposed to... That way we have the cables kind of running together in uniform. We can just run them up together out of the way. We'll zip tie those once we get to that point. Let's put the board back together. Let's put the RAM in. We haven't even done that. And then we can move on to the next step. But one thing I actually just caught, we are going to be holding a RTX 5090 in here. I don't know if we're trying to go vertical or not with it. Looks like he might be trying to go vertical with it, but I don't really see a vertical bracket other than this thing, which is, I think, what I actually have no idea how this goes. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that one out too. But we're missing a screw here, is what I was kind of... Where did I see screws and stuff? I don't remember. Whatever. We're just gonna use one of our screws. We're not very centered either, so... You know, with the way the board is mounted right now, it raises concerns. We've got a screw that's kind of not in right, so it's going to be a pain to get out. Then we have through here. There actually should be one here. I don't know if under the drive or not, to be honest. There is. And then we probably have one here. I just don't know how this comes off. Like this off. I'm going to take the board out. All of our connections are on the side here, and it's going to be an absolute pain in the arse to try to do it this way. So I'm going to get everything connected with the board free, and then put it back. I almost shouldn't have put the cooler back on, to be honest. But we'll leave it in here. I'm not happy with the screws. They don't feel like they're, I don't know, the threads just don't feel right. And then the one on the top, that, and if you look at the holes, are really kind of off. So I'm just going to redo this. It'll make it easier for me to plug things in on the side by pulling the board out. And then I'll be able to sleep better tonight knowing that the board is mounted better. Because it's on a slight angle. It's not perfectly lined up. Typically, I don't really care about that, but pretty bad. And this screw is stripped. I'm going to try to get it. Both these top screws are stripped. Got that one. "24 gigs of VRAM is not enough." Yeah. Yeah, I can see that there's mounting down here, but he's got a link up. A link up cord, and I don't know if it's even the right one. Looks like it is. See if it's long enough. Right now I'm just trying to get this cord out, or this screw out. Pretty dead set in there. Does anybody know if this comes off? I feel like there's got to be 2 more screws here. It's a bridge, so I feel like the bridge comes off. That you can plug stuff in and then put it back on. Probably what happened. I gotta look this up. I must see it for myself. Yeah, screw this. We're just gonna go over to the other computer. Okay. I was right. There's 2 screws down there. I'm on the wrong one. Move over. Okay. I was right. There's 2 screws. I'm just kidding. There's 2 screws under here, supposedly. And it's magnetic. It says, don't lift it. But I lifted it. That's cool as hell. Super dope. Just wanted to make sure before I yanked on something. You have to remove the magnetic cover. The bottom, yeah. I got that. But I'm going to remove the board or free it up. I'm not the biggest fan of its current position, and it's going to make it easier for me to plug all this stuff in. Hello? And now that I've found that screw that's stuck, we got to address that. It's stuck to the stud on the other side of the board. So we're going to pop the board out carefully. And at least get it semi-exposed here. You guys can see the stud is stuck on the bottom of this board. So we're going to address this and make it so that the board could come out one day without having to do this. Makes it right for Tony. But this is because of a screwdriver that went in on an angle. There we go. We're going to put in a new stud, and we're just going to replace all those screws probably in the end. Actually, we'll leave this standing while we deal with that stud. Stay. So, new stud. Maybe not as fancy as the original, but it's not going to be crust printed. It'll be El Perfecto. That way, if Tony ever needs to remove this board for some reason, or he brings it back to me and I have to remove this board for some reason later down the road, it'll be a lot easier to do. So now that we're sitting here, we can deal with all this, or we have the ability to prop the board up if we need to. I'm going to try to do without doing that. Maybe. Maybe I shouldn't. So this is madness. Alright, USB-Cs are here. Honestly, don't think I'm going to try to wedge it in there. This angle would be too tight to try to do that, so I kind of do have to come down like this. Is there a way that they could come through there? Actually, not sure. Don't worry, the board's not going anywhere. It can come through there. Oh, we're gonna do that. Let's pull all this crap through. I don't want to look at it. We're just gonna stand it up like a tower on its butt. Can we fit it through there? No. Of course not. About all we're going to be able to do here. And we got two USB 3s. What's a 6-pin power? Is that PCIe power? Well, there's two of them. I mean, it would make sense with all the extra PCIes. I don't think we're going to need it for this build, but... You gotta be shitting me. Okay. This sucks. didn't even put a screw in. Words that are coming out of my mouth right now. What is holding this board down if I didn't put a screw in? Holy crap. We bent a USB 3 pin. Trying to put this stupid USB 3 cable in here. Now I gotta bend it back. Where's my little screwdriver? Now we're just done playing stupid. There we go. That's all we needed. Scratch that. The photo I seen only showed shields being removed, not that side screen. Welcome. What's up, Bazooka Builders? Welcome back to the Build Show. Mike Thompson, welcome back to the Build Show. Sorry, I've been really focused on trying to figure this thing out. I need to, Nope, that's not what I need to do. This is what I need to do. Much better. Okay, so this design from the Godlike motherboard is cool, but I will say an absolute terrible design for this case. Yeah, I know, it's a standoff in the middle. I was trying to Yeah. I don't know where it went. It's a Coke. Because I don't drink and build. Whoa. Crapola. I'm late. What's up, Austin? Welcome back to the Build Show. Hey, Ben. How was the vacay, buddy? Hi, all. Mike, it was pretty good. Pretty good. You missed yesterday's, I think, unless you were here and I didn't see it. And somebody over on Facebook. Oh, Paul. Thank you for the like over there. And Karen as well. Jesse as well over on Facebook. Thank you for the likes. Sorry, I'm just losing my mind over this godlike motherboard. Got to put some jack in that. Nah, my jack days are well over. I stick to usually, if I'm doing any type of liquor, it's going to be a clear liquor, like a vodka. Jack Daniel's just, it's too sweet. Too much sugar. Had to be in work early this morning, so went to bed early. Gotcha. Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. So I think what I'm going to do is definitely keep the motherboard like so. Now that that fan is removed, I can maneuver it. And we can get everything plugged in for the love of all that is holy. Now the problem is yes. Okay, so we had to fix the standoff, we had to add the contact frame, repaste. Then we had issues with bending a pin on a USB 3 connector, which I fixed. And now we're at a point where we're finally in a position where we can maneuver this board a little bit with that rear fan removed and get everything kind of situated and plugged in. So I think we're doing pretty good. And the board's literally not going anywhere. That stud holds on to that board like it's gonna fall out of the sky or something. Now I need a map because I can't see. I need to figure out where everything else is. Yeah, I think Tony mostly plays Roblox with this. I'm joking. Let's see here. So our CPU fan and pump is up there at the top, but I believe those go to the hub, which then gets synchronized to this thing. So we're literally just gonna get everything we have to get plugged in. onto the motherboard and then plug it in on the back. That is our ultimate goal right now. This goes through here. This goes through here. All right. And then we need USB 2.0 headers, which I think is on the bridge. Is definitely on the bridge. So this is in my way. All right, so this bridge is really cool because you can take it off, plug everything in, and then put it back on. But I'm gonna do it the lazy man way and plug it in while it's out, or at least everything I can. We got JFP1 here. I think that is going to be our front panel. And that's pretty much all that goes into this. Unless we're plugging in sensors, which I don't know what that's for. The whole box. I mean, this board's got a crazy ton of stuff here. Are you ever going to use any, Tony, I don't know if you're still available. Are you going to use ever, are you ever going to use any SATA cables for SATA storage? I may as well just run those since I'm here. Crazy. This board is insane. Any of this? Holy crap. The big eye opener, honestly. Impressive to port it. It even includes a whole hub which goes to that bridge. We don't need that, but just showing it off. Really cool. Anyway, so the other USB option here, I have HD audio. Where was that? another ARGB connector? You know, I actually didn't even think of that. And let's get those power supply cables out. Looks like we might have some partial extension situations going on here. Some extensions, some not. Wonder why you got the extensions, maybe because he thought it was super long run. I'll put them on. They said it couldn't be done. Yo, Ben, you really think my GPU bottlenecks my 7800X3D? No. I think the 7800X or yeah, yes, it does, because the 7800X3D can handle way better than your current GPU flash. So you just have a better CPU than you have graphics card, which is not a bad thing to have, because that means you can upgrade. You could upgrade the GPU later down the road and not have to worry about upgrading the CPU. So 1,000+ motherboard, good golly Smalley. Yeah, Tony, I'm here. We'll be playing COD and Battlefield only. Nice. Lots of it is extra. Just give you all I had. Yeah, no, I'm just going through everything, kind of show everybody, hey, this motherboard has a shit ton of options. I mean, look at this. I'm not kidding you guys. On top of, you know, the 50 M.2 slots that are on, out here, that are on the board, you also have a whole nother expansion card for M.2s with a cooler and everything. And it looks like it can handle what? 4 or 5 more? So, crazy. This board is insane in the membrane. I guess if you're doing AI and you want a ton of storage, this would be ideally the right board to go grab for, and you didn't want to go Threadripper. Okay, so I think we're finally at a point where we have everything on the side here plugged in except for the PCIe connectors for the extra power to the PCIe lanes, which I might just plug in because it was such a pain in the ass. It would be almost a tragedy if I didn't just plug them in. Should I just plug those in, nerd? Do you think it would be bad for me to plug them in if they're not being used? I don't think it would be a bad thing. Sorry, I had to go. Oh, you stay. You stay. Sure. No, I agree with you. I think I should plug him in too. Then he won't have to deal with it. I believe these are just PCIe powers. I want to double check that. Amazing how complicated this board is. The more and more I look at the manual, the more and more I'm like, this board's pretty awesome. A lot of cool stuff on it. If you haven't read up on this board, I'm sure as hell going to after all this. What's up, Dare D? Hey guys, how tough is it to cool a 9950X 3D? It's not too bad. You could run it on a 360 millimeter, but obviously bigger is better. And these are PCIe power. Wanted to confirm that they're all the right for this. You don't screw around with power. Okay. There's that. Found a great deal on the 9950X 3D, wondering if the AIO I already have can cool it. Oh yeah, I think it'll do it just fine. Okay. Holy crap. I think that's everything. Other than front panel stuff. Which is here on the board, or the bridge. I think that's it. Wow. What a pain. Alright, now we can screw this back down. I think that is everything that has to go on here. I'm almost scared to start zip tying stuff. But we're going to screw everything back down. And then we'll get our SSD back in, our RAM, put our covers on, put the bridge on. And then all we got is power supply, GPU, and some cable management on the backside. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel, guys. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Got Steam games, maybe Fortnite too. Nice, Mark. What half-height single slot would people pick between 50 and 100? What half-height single slot? So you talking like a small form factor card? A used 10 series card? He's talking half height. So I think he's talking like a small form factor limb. Have a good night, some giant idiot. Thanks for hanging out. I know we were late. Late starting and late running. Well, I'll be look what you just installed. You'll be looking at what I just installed? This guy? Or this board? This board in this case do not go well. Yes, I grabbed a WX4 4100. Nice. The flash. Ah, yes, the best view of the night. The back of Ben's melon. Sorry. This build has called for it. Sorry, Tad, I didn't see all your messages at first there. It's a screen, and I don't think you can remove it. I think you were talking about the bridge, which is the right term for it now. Since we now know what it is called in the manual of MSI for this board, it is called a bridge. An easy bridge, to be exact. Supposed to make it easy. Chat. I think there was a 1030 and half height single slot too. Yes, that is correct. mark. I believe there is a 1030 out there that does it, and I think there's 1050s, 1050 Ti's, there's 1650s, there's also 3050s. They're a little thicker, and then I think there's even 4060s now in that height range. The light at the end of the tunnel. That is what we're focused on. We see the light. What did I say I was going to do? Put the screws back in. We're just going to go with new screws because I don't trust any of these screws that might be threaded. These are threading very nicely. I'm feeling the threads to see if we have any other studs that are jacked up as I tighten these down. Everything seems very smooth, which is what we want. It means we can remove the screws later if we ever had to, without it being stuck on the stud. Except for this one. That one was a little bit of a pain. Okay, how's my back? Pretty big, isn't it? Okay, got all the screws in. Now we can drop the SSD, the RAM in, put all these brackets back on the board. Put Humpty Dumpty together again. Yay. Feel like it's forward progress. Really cool. Thinking that sort of plastic trick. This one has plastics. And then the RAM is going to go in slots A2 and B2. You know that already. Got it. This is 64 gigs DDR5, 6000 megahertz at CL30. This is Trident Z5 Neo RGB. AMD Expo certified RAM. Okay. Now, what do we do next? Power supply? Then we sort out the GPU. I should put this fan back in. I can do that. Joker, this one. It's a little more. Yeah, this is a very inexpensive motherboard. It's not the most expensive motherboard I've worked with, actually, because of the Threadripper boards. Those are not cheap. Even some of the cheaper Threadripper boards are not cheap. Okay, so now we've got that situated. We're gonna pull our power supply, run our cables, plug them in, slide our power supply back in. That's at least the plan here for the power supply. So we're gonna rotate this bad boy like this, since we already have all of our cords except for a couple that we need plugged in to the motherboard and whatnots. The GPU's not plugged in. That. Those. Those. I actually hate Corsair for doing this. Here's our 16-pin cord, and they split it off to this crap. Why did they do that? But we need this one. And it's short. Not very helpful in our current build. Anyway, need these cables. Undo our power supply, slide it out. Hoping we can slide this out. Yeah, how does this go in? I forgot. We have like a back door or something. I actually have no idea how this went in. Alright guys, does anybody know how to get this power supply in and out of here? Before I go look it up. I can't remember. I feel like it's stupid easy. And I'm making it more difficult than it has to be. Missing something here. How do you get that power supply in and out of there? There's a few the front of the case. Are you kidding me? Oh boy. I don't remember having to do that last time I was in this one. Well, it was some time ago. From the front of the case. What? I don't even want to think about doing this. How did you figure this out, Tony? I don't even want to think about getting this power supply out. I might just leave it upside down and just try to fit it. Screw it. I'm not taking this power supply out. I can barely see, but I can do it. Full send. Can I get my phone in there at least to get some light? Where's that little light? These things come in handy. Just don't forget them. I've left a couple of them in builds. Like a little magnetic light. So we've got... Okay, so we're gonna do it a very unethical way, but maybe you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna run it to the power supply down here using what little light I have. Because screw it. This is how bad I don't want to take. No, you're fine, Tony. I'm making it more dramatical than it has to be. You're being such a drama queen. Gosh. I know. There's screws on the back, and then yeah, the power supply goes, it looks like forward. There's no way for it to come out the back. Absolutely no way. We're just doing it the most unethical way possible at this point to avoid trying to pull this power supply out. Like I said, I really don't want to do that. This is how bad I don't want to do it. Literally using the Force like Luke Skywalker. Blindly putting those in. Okay, guys, I've done this before. Once or twice. Alright, so we want to get this guy, which is our 16-pin, to Type 4, according to... I believe is Their way of saying PCIe. I'm not a fan of these cables by Corsair. Never really have been. Cheated a little bit on that one, and I used the hole on the bottom of the case to gain access. Alright, so this one goes first. It comes in like this. Anyway. Video I just watched shows it going through the side and screws in with big thumb screws in the back of the case. Those don't exist, unfortunately. How in the world is it screwed into the case? Into the back, but it doesn't come out the back. So it's just the frame. I'll show you if I can. I just got a little frustrated with this 24 pin. Was about ready to just whip it. Okay. 2 more to go. Data power. Done. I feel like we're missing a PWM hub connector here. That is because we are. Well, shit. Okay, we got all that plugged in. Now for the GPU. While we can. I feel like there's supposed to be some sort of bracket here for the card. I gotta look. I think somebody sent me that. Nerd sent me it. Oh my gosh, this whole thing comes out? The shroud? Okay, for the record, guys, apparently this shroud comes out. This breaks open. I was kind of toying with that earlier. This comes off. And then this shroud does come off. And then you have full access to the power supply, and then there's 4 screws on the back. So that makes sense, but that is a ridiculous amount of work just to get to your power supply. In my opinion, it does not need to be that difficult. They could have made that a little easier, honestly. But we're past it. I did it. Language. Sorry. Yeah, looks like there's some hardware that's supposed to be here for the standoff for the bracket. This is a GPU support bracket, but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to try to put this in vertical, and hopefully the card fits because of this, but I assume it will. Looks like there should be enough clearance. Oh, I see. That's not even in the right position. Like, what is going on here? So we do have to drop it down. We need standoffs for the riser cable. I don't see any, or didn't see any hardware for the case floating around here. I assumed that was going to be in this box, which ended up being the RAM. There's no hardware here. That we have to locate or figure out. But this bracket is actually not in a low enough position for vertical. It needs to be all the way at the bottom according to the instructions here. We'll pull that out. And get this mounted to the bottom. Which is where we want to put it, I believe. And now, we can probably get the riser in here, but it looks like there should be something here. I'm just gonna go look at the instructions again just to confirm. But yeah, it looks like there's supposed to be a riser. Some sort of part there. We've got riser cables. I don't even know if it's the right length. It doesn't even... Looks like it's going to be too short. Oh my gosh. Should just come out of the bag. And there's just a note. I don't ever like seeing bends in these very sensitive cables. And these have some bends to them, which means they could have been crushed. But it looks like we have enough length, maybe. So. I just don't know, what type of stud is supposed to be here height-wise, and it doesn't really say in the instructions. But I feel like there should be a stud there. Let's try to find one with the right red. And I believe this card is a dual slot card, right? Of course, it's a triple slot card. Okay. I think that's right. I'm just going off of instructions and lack of hardware for the case. I don't know. Looks like most of the peels have been peeled already on the card. This is an RTX 5090 by PNY. It is their overclocked RGB or ARGB overclocked. Just making sure there's no peels sitting here on the card that might have been missed. Pretty sure that's a peel, but maybe I'm crazy. At least we can watch those from here. Don't like this riser design, honestly. Not a big fan of the riser. Almost not tall enough. Something. Needs to be taller. This is not the right height. It looks like it needs to be taller. Alright, does anybody know what hardware is supposed to come with this thing? For mounting this riser? Apparently, one stud is too short. You're starting to look tired, Ben. I am tired. I was on vacation for 2 weeks and then came home just straight out of the hopper. Let's just start building. Alright. What we gotta do, get the builds done. Alright, now let's try it. It's a little taller. Okay, so what did work is a Lian Li stud left over from a riser. Or not from a riser, from a GPU support bracket. That height was the perfect height. Now we just gotta mount the card. Oh. At the back. Why is that so difficult to screw in? Holy crap. That's screwed. I feel like somebody tried to mount this before. The holes are feeling threaded. That's what I'm trying to deal with right here. And I feel like we probably should have put this bracket on the card, then put it in there with the riser. But I got it. Slowly, but surely, we're getting there. I don't remember what that was from. Okay. So here we have a vertical GPU. Almost there, guys. I promise we're almost there. I shouldn't promise that. That's dumb. Okay. Last but not least is the Trix hub and the cable management on the backside. And then we could finally fire this up. Finally. Almost there, guys. It's been a long one. Another one. I don't know why I agree to do these builds. But I guess it's for your entertainment. Yeah, they're good, but overpriced basically. What are you talking about? The Corsair should have better for what they charge. What are you talking about? Corsair RAM? You got a good kit of 32 for 80 or 90 bucks. About 130 bucks either way here. Huh, 48 gig. I'm not a big fan of the 48 gig kits, to be honest. I've had issues with 48 gigs, honestly. That isn't me just being, oh, it's 48 gigs, not 32, and not 16. No. It's just, I've had issues with 48 gig kits not working. So I've started steering clear from them and just sticking with 32 and 64s, and they've always worked. Every now and then you run into a bad kit, or a bad stick. All right, I got thermal paste on my hand, and it was not for me. For the record. Some thermal paste on cables. And these cables weren't in there when I had that off, so somebody else put thermal paste. I'm just teasing you, Tony. A good call on the extensions. That was definitely needed, in my opinion. I think it was a good call. What we want to do here, get all of our wires running down a main harness. Neat. And then from there, we can really do some nice cable management. What does this go to? Good. Didn't I say I was going to put that on the thingamabopper? Okay, we have to figure that out. I feel like it was supposed to be on the hub. Pretty sure that's a pump. Dude. I don't know. We'll figure out something here. Visa, think of something. Give me a zip pack. This is getting stupid. Hopefully the door closes. We'll just tuck it in, going that direction. Good. Ah. Almost forgot my light. Told you. Told you. It's easy to leave them in there. Damn, that looks good. Midnight oil. Always. When you're playing catch up, you got to do it. All right, Tony. There's your cable management on the backside. Hopefully it's clean enough because I know it's glass on the backside and you can see it, kind of. So I tried to do it as clean as I could. Beautiful management, thank you. If Tony's even still with us. He's probably sleeping out on a log in the woods somewhere. Okay. Let's look at the front. See what it looks like after the cable management. Not too shabby. A little bit of going on. This easily fixed. Everything else looks good. Excellent. Time to wipe down the fingerprints, which unfortunately there are a lot of them. I think I touched every square inch of this build. I'll do, obviously, a better job before he picks up. Not much hardware to clean up here, so. Oh, I forgot this power supply has. Might have to zoom out for this one, guys, so bear with me. Oh, actually, it just barely fits in the frame. All right. The moment of truth. Do we have to take this apart again? Wish this camera would zoom in and stop. But it's like, no, I want to go in more. All right, Tony. You tell us when to push this power button. Whenever you're ready. Actually, I might be able to get a little less zoom here with the Streamlabs. Oh, not that one. Ooh. That's for the win. I'll fix the focus. There we go. What is it picking up? Oh, the tower. It's actually picking up the tower. Now, punching it in 3, 2, 1. Maybe I plugged in the power button incorrectly. Got a feeling. Got a feeling. Tell me the frickin' Just guessing here. Okay, hold on. Okay. I know the RAM was on. We're going to do this. WTF. Zero activity from the power supply. RAM comes on. What the H? I looked at it very closely. They're plugged in. Yeah, I agree with that. Same results. Oh. It's acting like, honestly, power supply. or motherboard. That is honestly what it's acting like. And I'm too tired to try to continue troubleshooting this. This build was exhausting after a very long day. So, we are currently stuck not seeing it tonight. I'm not going to deal with this tonight. Yeah, pretty much. Time to remove the shroud. Wish I could just plug a power supply in and test it, which I do have here. But that means I have to literally remove the motherboard to get to the power supply connections because they're angled at a 90-degree angle, which is retarded. For this particular situation, it would be very difficult. So, if it was easier, I'd say, yeah, let's figure it out. Let's, let's do it. But I'm tearing half the machine apart just to do this. It's disappointing. I was really hoping it would just fire up and we'd be all right, right? So now we got to figure out what the deal is, what part's bad, or what's not plugged in right, or what's missing. I don't know. Maybe something came undone while I was cable managing. I didn't see anything while I was back there, but it's possible still. Something maybe is undone. Bummer. Yeah. Too tired to figure this out tonight. But I did, like you said, Chad, I was thinking the same thing. Maybe it's a ground on the riser cable or something, because it's a cheap cable from Link Up or whatever that company's called. I don't typically use their stuff. And we had to rig it a little bit with studs. So, anyway, it wasn't going to be something easy. 90%, something just isn't plugged in right. I mean, we got everything plugged in, and I was pretty thorough. Which is why the build took 3 hours and 37 minutes. Have a good night, Tat. Sorry I couldn't show you the build. Oh yeah, look at that smoke. Yeah, I'm bare. Yeah, we'll just have to figure it out tomorrow. In the morning. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm cooked, chat. It's like the one and only time you'll ever hear me say that. I guess maybe around Christmas time, when I'm doing 5 builds in one day. Every day. No worries, yeah. No worries. I'm worried because I honestly, deep down, really don't want to take this thing back apart right now. I've had enough. Yeah, good night, guys. We're going to call it here. And, you know, if you're following in the Discord channel, I'll post an update there on what's going on and what I've tried. Maybe we do a quick YouTube video. I don't know. If I have the energy. Tony has 4 of these anyway. Oh, jeez. Tony, why do we need another one? No, I'm just kidding. I just don't understand, because we were pretty thorough on the connections, especially those side connections. We took the time to keep the motherboard unmounted so we can get everything plugged in. The only thing I rushed was the power supply obviously not pulling the power supply out and getting that plugged in, but that was because it looked like a pain in the ass to get to the power supply. So I wedged my hands in there and I was able to get them plugged in, and I plugged them in, so it's not like I wiggled them in and they went in straight. Maybe the only one that was most difficult was the 24 pin. That would make sense because it's not firing. But you know, are all these cables that came from that power supply, or are these mixed power supply cables? It's another good question. I assume they all came from this power supply. The only reason why I ask is because I found another power cord in that mix, which made me think, maybe one of these power cables is a mixed power cable from another power supply. You bought the GPU on Alibaba? Alibaba? That shouldn't be a problem, unless there's no core in there. But even so, the computer should still start up. The motherboard would get power. The AIO, the fans would be running. If this is one of those missing core cards, then the card would not display, and that's where we'd be stuck. So it would be a complete different experience. Right now, it's acting like something isn't either plugged in right on the power supply, and the power supply is not allowing it to start, because the power supply fan isn't even kicking on. Or we got an issue with the motherboard connection with the power supply. Those are really the two. I'm too tired to go through and try to figure out what's going on with these power supply connections. Because what I would do is take the power supply out and even try a different power supply before I even did that. But it's such a pain in the butt to get to the connections that I don't even want to think about doing that tonight. I'll buy another if I need to. All Corsair, kidding. No, it's okay. Hey, there's extensions, right? Yeah, there are extensions on only the EPS. That's the only thing that has extensions. Kind of needed them because I don't think the EPS cable from the power supply would reach the connection on the motherboard. Yeah, I think it's a power supply, or I think it's power supply cable connection somewhere that's not satisfied. So we'll look through it tomorrow. Thank you, chat nerds, for dropping the Discord. If you guys want to follow, I'll give you an update on the Discord channel. Motherboard should be golden. It's brand new, never had power to it. Power supply for sure. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, is power supply or power supply connection or cable. Maybe it's how I have it, cable managed. Maybe it's too tight and it's pulling on something. I don't know. I'm not going to look at it until tomorrow. I am cooked. It was a long day. That was a long build. And I'm not looking forward to taking it back apart. So. It is a tank. But, can't rule it out. So, if I grab another power supply, get that plugged in, and it fires up, then we know for sure it's power supply. Which is ideally what I'm going to do tomorrow. If it doesn't fire up, then we know for sure we have a bigger problem than power supply. So. Alright guys, I am done for the night. Y'all have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow, because we have another build stream planned for tomorrow evening. And I also have to resolve this, and I also have another customer computer that was another two computers, one that I had to pick up and another one that was dropped off that I got to deal with tomorrow too. So we got a pretty busy day, as well as a Micro Center run, which is required to do the build stream tomorrow. So if I don't make it to Micro Center, there is no build stream. So Micro Center or the build stream is dependent on if I make it to Micro Center. So I'd like to get there in the morning so I can get that out of the way and then just be here working. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow night on the next build show, and I will post an update on this one in the Discord channel. We'll see you guys. Take care.